But I think at the end of the day, what separates successful business owners, successful entrepreneurs from unsuccessful entrepreneurs is that one character. So I have been an entrepreneur, a small business owner for 15 years now. And in that 15 years, I have built more than one multi-six-figure business. And one of the questions that I got asked recently that I just love is, of all the characteristics that an entrepreneur should have, what do you think is the single most important characteristic of a successful entrepreneur? And my answer to that question is 1,000,000% discipline. Which kind of sounds, a little stuffy doesn't sound like what would come to mind when you think of an entrepreneur. You think of creativity and drive and risk taking. But I think at the end of the day, what separates successful business owners, successful entrepreneurs from unsuccessful entrepreneurs is that one character trait, discipline. One of my most favorite business books of all time is Good to Great by Jim Collins. And in that book, the author spends a good bit of time deep diving into this concept of discipline, and specifically why discipline in 3 critical areas is just absolutely non-negotiable for a successful company. After reading that book, I turned some of those notes into a memo that I ended up sending to my team last year. And I wanted to share a little bit of that with you today, because I think it would be really helpful whether you are a solopreneur or whether you have a team as well. Okay, so there's 3 areas of discipline that are absolutely critical to the entrepreneur, to the small business owner. The first one, well, let me just tell you all 3 and then we'll deep dive a little bit deeper. Okay, number 1, disciplined focus. Number 2, disciplined thought. And number 3, disciplined action. All right, so let's talk about disciplined thought, okay? Mindless action. I'm just referencing my memo that I sent to my team here. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing, because this is like really, really important stuff. And I want to make sure that this gets communicated really clearly. This is really going to help you, all right? Mindless action, which I would say is a great way of identifying a lot of what we do as small business owners and entrepreneurs. We're just kind of doing all of these things, and people say we should do this and that. And so we do it, and we spend hours of time in email or on Instagram engaging. Okay. Think about that. Think about the things that take up your typical day as an entrepreneur. And I want you to think about it in relation to this. Mindless action will prove to be the enemy both of growth and of excellence. You cannot just show up and let your clients, let your inbox, let your compulsions dictate how you spend your time. You have to be disciplined with your thought process as a small business owner. Your days cannot be full of mindless busyness that feels good to have completed. That is going to ultimately get you nowhere. So you have to be really disciplined in the way that you stop and think about the activities that you're actually doing. Okay, not just mindlessly doing them, not just showing up on Instagram and engaging because you're told you should, not just being blogging because you're told you should, not just whatever it is, fill in the blank, doing reels, recording videos, whatever it is for your industry, not just mindlessly doing them because you think you should, because someone said that you should, but really being disciplined to stop and think about what you're doing and why, and whether or not it's generating the results that you need. So here's some questions that you could ask yourself and should be asking yourself about every single task that you're doing. Okay. Number 1, why am I doing this? Okay. Number 2, is this activity helping us to accomplish our goals? Is this activity directly helping me accomplish my goals? What is the purpose of this activity or project? And how will I even know if it's successful? Right? I mean, we spend a lot of our time doing things that don't have very clear measurables as it relates to the growth of our business. Are we as a team focusing on the right initiatives, or are there things that are taking up our time, slowing us down, that aren't really the key initiatives for driving growth? What is wasting my time? It's a great question to ask, like in your work week. Everyone says they don't have enough time, but so much of that feeling of lack of time really has to do with lack of disciplined thought as applied to what it is that's in front of them. Another question would be, how can this be done better or faster or smarter? I fall into that. It's just easier to just show up and keep doing than to like really question how I'm doing it or why I'm doing it that way in the first place. It's always harder to stop and kind of implement the system that would make it easier in the long run. I tend to just want to show up and do the task, even if there is a way to do it better, faster, or smarter. And then my favorite question of all is, do we need to be doing this at all? That's a great question to be asking all the time about everything you're doing. When I have my one-on-one meetings with my team members each month, I always ask them, what is one thing that you need to stop doing? Like, what's one thing that we as a company need to stop doing that we're doing? So it's just a great question. Do we need to be doing this at all? So that is disciplined thought. Okay. The next of these three critical areas of discipline is disciplined focus. Disciplined focus means being ruthlessly laser focused on the big picture goals of your company and killing any task or initiative or idea that threatens to distract you or derail you or dilute your efforts at accomplishing your big picture goal, okay? Super critical. Disciplined focus means being ruthlessly laser focused on accomplishing your goal and being willing to kill anything and everything that you're doing that does not support the accomplishment of that goal, okay? So that was disciplined thought. Disciplined focus, stay focused. There's so many things. You have this product, then you have this product, you have this idea, then this idea, you have this marketing initiative, then this marketing initiative. Are you staying laser focused on accomplishing your goal? And are you willing to cut or kill anything else that is just going to distract or dilute your effort? Remember, your time and your energy are limited resources. You can give a little bit everywhere, or you can funnel it all into the 20% of what you're doing that's actually driving revenue, actually making a big difference. And that's when you're going to really, really see the results. But it takes discipline, takes disciplined focus. Okay, last one is the most logical, disciplined action. The best plans, the best systems, the best strategies are going to get you nowhere if you cannot be disciplined to actually get them done. And this is hard, right? I mean, this is where there's so many distractions. Your inbox is a distraction to your workday. Your phone is a distraction to your workday. Any push notifications to your laptop are a distraction to your workday. Slack messages with your team can be a distraction to the deep work that you need to be doing. So there are so many distractions that we are fighting now as business owners. At the end of the day, the entrepreneurs that win, the business owners that win are the ones that are disciplined enough to do whatever it takes to get it done, okay? You can do this, but discipline is critical to entrepreneurial success, critical to entrepreneurial success. And the most successful companies out there are the ones that have been the most disciplined in these three areas and that hire people, surround themselves with a team that is disciplined in those three areas. So discipline is one of our core values at Social Squares. It's something that I talk with my team a lot. It's a standard that I hold myself to. And I guarantee you, if you can work on this area of your own discipline and your team's discipline in your thought, in your focus, in your action, that is when the real momentum comes. Okay. That's when you really start to see results. All right. If you haven't read Good to Great by Jim Collins, definitely do it. Highly recommend. It's one of my top 10 favorite business books of all time. But I hope that's helpful for you on your entrepreneurial journey.